not part of it anymore.
Okay.
She's on. We're ready. I'd like to welcome you to the Planning and Zoning Work Meeting, July 14th, 2026. It's 7 o'clock. If you'd like to stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Chair Betty Lilly. Not here. Joanne Thomas.
Here.
Audrey Stanfield.
Here.
Jim Schnitzen.
Good.
Schnicken.
Here.
Steve Jack.
Here.
And then do I call city staff? Travis Allen,
Here.
Terry Dillon here, and Misty Michael. Here.
Okay, has everyone had the opportunity to read the June 16th, 2026 meeting minutes? Do I have a motion
No, everything.
or is it?
Yeah, the consent agenda,
Oh, yes,
Commissioner Thomas couldn't
vote.
vote, so that was Commissioner Shanfield.
I wondered if that was,
You were overseeing. it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw. And I assumed that Audrey would have said something. She's usually that-
Not this time.
She's got something, yeah.
yeah, right on, it says that,
It was too long ago.
okay, now
I move that we approve minutes of
with changes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the June 16th meeting minutes with the change to the, what, the correction. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So we'll move on to our next discussion items.
Part A. We discussed the medium duty density residential zone description in previous work meetings. There's a reason for that. I explained in the letter to commissioners. Is that in our schedule of uses, this document that looks like this. You can see in the highlighted portion that it includes what is permitted uses and what is conditional uses and what is not permitted. If you notice, it starts out at a single family dwelling and goes to a 2-family dwelling or townhouse, skips over a 3 or a 3 plex would be considered a multifamily still. And then it goes right to 4 or up to 4 and over 4. So that's why the language is kind of funny in general description and in the detailed code. That's what we're trying to avoid saying number 3 because the code skips over 3, but it's included in the up to 4 units. So that's why it sounds funny. With that being said, we'll try to get this posted in the next public hearing. If everybody agrees, that's the reason why the language should stay the same. Okay. Everybody's fine with that. We'll move on to the next agenda item. Changes to setback measurement language. The mayor wanted to update the changes in setback measurements. Currently we say that we have to measure to the nearest point. So that includes the E, but it's hard to imagine where that E is going to land when we're measuring forms or excavation. So he wants that to include the building face and some more language in there. So if you look at first, it doesn't have the title on it. So it looks like this.
Mhm.
It has highlights on both sides. But you'll notice in there it says it will be measured to the building face and may include horizontal projections up to 2 feet that do not increase the volume of space enclosed in the building. When the horizontal projection exceeds 2 feet, the setback shall be measured from a point located 2 feet inward from the outer edge of the projection toward the building face. So if that is an eave, that's gonna be 2 feet out there, but it doesn't add to the square footage of the building. This is a better way to measure where the form's gonna set, where that building face is gonna be, or that foundation will be. This will help clarify where setbacks are inspected to. It won't include the volume of the space of the enclosed building. So usually where you have your eave extend out, that isn't architectural space or required for like load bearing or anything like that other than the roof itself. So that's how some other cities has worded it, and that's the best language that we can come up with. It's hard to cover all the things that could be in there. If you look at this sheet that has just the one horizontal on it, it includes in here of what projections can be, like cornices, canopies, eaves, and then we struck out architectural projections and just other horizontal projections that do not increase the volume of space. So now the accessory uses kind of match up with how we measure it in everywhere else. And we only have it in one or two of the code in the detailed description of each zone regulation, and we only have it on the footnote on the bottom of this dimensional standards chart. So that is the only places where it really mentions it, and that's the language we want to adopt.
I'm just asking for some clarification.
Okay.
So if I have a 4-foot overhang,
Mhm.
you're coming back 2 feet from that, and that's where you'd say the building starts?
That's
Or you're
where-
going back to 4 feet, even though it's not additional square footage of
You
the
still
house?
get your 2 foot of the eave, but we'll say your setback starts here,
From the,
from 2 feet in from
Yeah.
that eve if you have a
You're still
4
2
foot.
feet away from your.
So we're still giving them 2 feet of eve. Our normal setback for our closest setback that we allow on the side setback or a rear setback for a corner lot is 5 foot. So even if we give them 2 foot of eve, they're still gonna have 3 foot in there to retain all their stormwater. And if snow comes off the road, it's still gonna land on their property. They're still gonna meet fire code regulations of having a 10-foot separation between structures and of that kind. This will simplify being able to measure that setback when it's in a form dug in a hole and they're ready to pour the concrete for the foundation. We can just simply say, okay, this is the building face. If they're gonna have a 4-foot eve, it's gonna have to be engineered anyways.
All the trusses are engineered.
Yeah, all the trusses, we do have a truss schedule requirement.
No, I was like I said, I was just being curious to make sure that the way that I read it, that's the way that I read it.
Yeah, so that's the language we'd like to adopt to correct this problem and be able to measure setbacks more efficiently.
And this is for the purpose of like side-by-side housing that they gave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will be, when it gets real close, usually if you're an interior lot, we're allowed a 5-foot setback on each side. Our average is 30 feet in front, 20 feet in the back, unless it's a corner lot. So yeah, that's where that 5 foot comes in. But if you go more than that 30 in the front, 20 in the back, and 5 on each side, it's more than likely you've already exceeded another requirement in our dimensional standards, saying that you can't exceed 60% of the lot with your primary structure. So your average lot size for like LDR1 is 6,000 square feet for an interior lot and 7,000 square feet for a corner lot. So when it comes to a corner lot, we have some give and take in there. So we request a larger lot to begin with, and then we allow only a 5-foot setback to the side and to the rear, because we require a 20-foot setback to the side that is the intersecting street. So that kind of is a give and take on the corner lots. We ask for a larger lot, but we also have a larger setback to keep them out of the side triangle for the intersection. At the intersection, that's measured at 30 feet at the apex of the turn. So if you have a corner kind of like this, you have a street corner like that, and you're building a house around here like this, we're gonna measure a 30-foot line like this and draw this triangle.
Okay.
And so we can't have anything in here, so traffic going by, coming to the intersection, can see around the corner. So when you're on, so we're gonna require this to be 20 foot right here, but we're gonna allow 5 foot here where we normally would require a 20 foot to the rear on an interior lot. And so that's a little bit, we're still gonna require this 30 foot here, and that helps with this side triangle. We still have other requirements like a 15-foot side triangle at driveways and alleys. Any other questions? All right, we will put that up for the next public hearing that we will have notifications go out, so that'll probably be scheduled for August public hearing. Next on the agenda is just letters that we received from CCOG. It's a requirement for them to let the Planning and Zoning Commission know that they are doing projects in the area. These are two very good projects. This is mail that I received for the commissioners that I need to share with you. So one is for what they call Idaho Community Development Block Grant, or ICDD grant. This is for, one I'm reading is for the downtown. Scope of these entails updating sidewalks and the ADA accessible in addition of the curb cuts to repair the curb gutters and improve stormwater systems along North Broadway between Judicial Street and Bridge Street. So this is the next block that they're gonna do after they already did this block just right over here. So we're gonna head south and go do the block in between Judicial and Bridge next.
Is there anything in the plans to refinish the road, Broadway going north?
To,
Maverick put in half a road
yeah,
in their area. North of that is horrible. South of that is horrible.
yeah, that'll be another block in the future. I think we get 250,000 or more. Can't remember on this one exactly. But yeah, they have a map on here. And yeah, they will go north as well. They will go clear to the fairgrounds entrance eventually.
They're only doing one block.
Yeah, well, they're doing the most expensive blocks at that as well. And we can apply for this every year. The CCOG likes to see our application. They like the projects. We work good with JUB and I think it's JUB, either there or Keller Associates. Keller Associates and HK.
So are they going to tear this block down so that they do new storm drains and new water lines and everything?
Just like right here on this block.
So this doesn't have to go out to bid?
It will go out to bid.
No, it's just a question because you said NHK, so I was just wondering if it was a foregone conclusion that NHK can.
No, they did the last block. I know that. And it does go out to bid. CCOG makes sure of a lot of things. They interview people to make sure that they're getting paid what the grant says they're going to be paid. Sometimes they have requirements like all the materials have to be made in America sometimes. It's a very difficult project. It's designed to encourage local growth, local developers, local contractors.
So we're bringing a company out of Idaho Falls, so some of the bigger ones that are here.
I like to say they'll go up for bid. Who gets the bid? It'll be a public bid.
I was just making my comment.
Going on to the next letter. The next letter is also another community development block grant, but this is to modernize the elevator in the Sunset Manor. It's the affordable housing that's next to the Senior Citizens Center. The elevator, I hear it needs this very, very much. I think we allowed CCOG to take charge of these projects through city council approval to make these applications for us.
CCOG has to go through, and I was at city council when I went through, when they talked about this. They have to run it through the city of Blackfoot, pay for paperwork wise. It's the only thing that the city of Blackfoot's involved with this. It's just for paperwork.
But they're very good grant writers. They know how they
Oh, I
get
think it's
scored,
great.
and we have a better success with their help. So that's just mail that I received on your stead, and interesting facts that come along with it. They just send this mail to us just to make sure that there isn't any zoning requirements that is associated to this project. If they feel the need for me to attend the pre-construction meetings or anything like that, they invite me. But we do have good representatives with all our other department heads, and our city administrator, Brandon Anderson, helps move that along as well. So moving on to the next item is review of the additional changes for common spaces. When I was reviewing an application, well, potential application, it was a site plan review meeting for a new housing development coming in. This would be Honeygrove 4. It's going to be in the back there. Well, we got 3. We approved the development agreement for 3, but we're going to have a 4 after that.
We hope to have a 4.
We hope to have a 4, yes. So we did a site plan meeting with them.
They hope that.
Yes,
And
that's,
so-
wait.
In that review of that concept, I found more information pertaining to the common spaces. In the Title 12, this piece of paper is titled Title 12, Chapter 628. This is part of the subdivision application process, not the planned unit development application. Part A says so you got to pay attention to some words in here. Public uses, subdivisions containing 15 dwelling units or more may is the big word here. Be required to provide up to 400 square feet of park or playground space, each dwelling unit therein. And that is if the city is willing to have that dedicated to them, if we have the budget to operate it and maintain it. But this is for a subdivision application, not a planned unit development, where they would maintain their own park under their own HOA in the common area law. But I thought it was important to add what's inherent in the underline. So if we ever require the park to be dedicated to the city, we want that playground equipment to be up to the standards that the playground equipment is at, like Jensen Grove or any other park or city park. So I thought it would be good to add the component in here. Play equipment shall comply with the current public playground safety handbook produced by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and Architectural Technical Standards Manual, or ATSM. That's an engineering manual that says these playground equipments have been tested and engineered so they can't get their head caught in them or their leg broke or anything like that. So I thought that was an important addition to this section of the code while we're updating the common spaces.
Maybe you touched on this while I was gone, but I know that you've been doing research on common spaces at other places. Is there language in the code now that there has to be so much contiguous space as a minimum, so we don't have just piecemeal?
Yeah, we're trying to adopt code similar to what Rexburg does. And that's what on the other page is right here. It is 20% of the net land area. And that's what Rexburg requires.
Okay.
There is so like, this would be for, in here in this language, it would be for a planned unit development. And in here, we kind of learned lessons from other cities like City of Pocatello and Rexburg. Pocatello, they do 10% of the gross land, and they allow part of that common area to be parking lots, so they didn't put language in there to exclude them. And so that's why down in here in these other sections, we says required common space will include, but not limited to, recreation areas and facilities, and then we give examples like parks, clubhouses, athletic courts, pools, and trails. Parking lots, right-of-way areas included within the private lot shall not be counted toward the required open space. So parking lots and say the street
Right.
coming in that is dedicated right-of-way used for a lane or a street, they can't use that as common space. And then on the back side of that same page, common activity areas at minimum open green space shall include either a playground with play equipment and or pathways with benches and tables with natural or planted landscape area. And I also put that clause in there requiring that their playground equipment meet engineering standards and that they just don't go down to Costco and buy, whatever's there or whatever. So yeah, there's a standard. It's a little more expensive, but if the city ever had to have it dedicated to them, we don't have to tear it down immediately and put the standard in because we're held to that standard. Or if a developer puts it in there and we just say playground, you can buy the cheapest toys and say, yeah, there's your playground. There's a standard that we can ask for as long as it's in our code. We can't require it. We can ask for it during planned unit development applications, but we can't require it unless it's within our code. So that's a couple of reasons why we chose this language and this number. We will have to still discuss it with the mayor. He wants some common open space as well. So we're trying to settle what is an acceptable number for as well. So.
Goes to the mayor before it goes to city council.
No, he has some say into when it goes to public hearing and what. So I will have that discussion with him. I will contact all of you since we've already discussed it in an open meeting. And I send out that conversation to you guys if the number's acceptable or if there's a different number we want to go with or some different language. Our mayor is very passionate about how our code is written. So he might change the language. We might settle on another number. But it's important to have his support and city council support if we're going to conduct the hearing.
Hey, Travis, I'm gonna just be a deep here. So why do we even say what percentage we think if he can override it, what percent? I get city council. But
I
you
think,
seem to
I
lean to
think,
his opinion a lot more than you lean to our opinion.
I think that it's an open discussion. The mayor is like the director of the city. He's running a company and has to manage a budget as well. And city council has to do that as well. If the number isn't agreeable and we have a case study that says, hey, they lost because they require too much, or they show statistics that show that their growth slowed because they're asking too much in their development agreements. I think that's important to take into consideration
I think it is if we have to support that growth
to support the growth.
and not react to that growth.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I mean, some of my opinion of what we agreed with, 20%,
Mm-hmm.
you can see Rexford's not slowing down one bit.
Oh, no. They're not.
They're growing a lot faster than Blackfoot.
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side, their infrastructure is a lot farther along than
Yes.
ours.
Yes.
They plan better than ours.
They're planning better.
And hence, if we slow down a little bit, give us some time to catch up.
It might be an entirely bad thing.
So,
So that's why I think that's a conversation to be had.
and I think there's been only one subdivision that hasn't been, because the one that you were just talking about has exceeded it as well.
Yeah, so Honeybrook 3 has exceeded the common space area. I think their development agreement was approved by city council. I have a appointment on my calendar next week in order to get that signed and notarized and recorded with the county. The developer's anxious to get that project going, as well as the next one that we had a site plan meeting for. So I feel like our growth isn't slowing. I think so say we took Honeybrook 3 and applied this to we are perfect. Right? We would have no qualm with it, and this is for future developments, right? To kind of match that. We'd like to see that, but this is the way that we can have it supported if we ever have a judicial review on this requirement. We got to have it in our code to be able to require it. If we required it and it wasn't in our code, it was just a helpful suggestion, they would fall back to what is in our code. And we reviewed where in a planned unit development, if it's under an acre, we still require 100 square feet of personal space for each unit. That is, I review that. I've had to talk to different developers on different infill developments. They're trying to get that worked in. They're trying to make all this work. There is growth coming to Blackfoot. We want to manage that growth and make sure it is. We have properties that are small developments that we have applications for, or they're doing pre-applications that were required before for them to do that. We got one that had to apply for a lot line adjustment, so they had the correct size of lots. That was a minor subdivision, but it was still 5 lots, and they were all single-family homes. And that's what everybody really wants, is single-family homes. But we have other growth that we can sustain as well, such as multifamily townhouses as well. We have responsible growth connecting other developments as well. So if we add on to Honeybrook 2 or 3, they are complying with all the rules. They are kind of cringing a little bit when they talk about the new parking lot requirement. But we've talked to some developers, and they're like, well, we had a 3 apartment duplex, or what was it, 4plex, and they built them in Chubby. We're like, we was only allowed to lease 2 different roommates, 2 leases in a 3-bedroom 4plex, because we couldn't provide enough parking for the 3rd roommate. Well, that's where we set our code at, right?
Yeah.
That 2.5 or
Round up to 3.
1 for each bedroom. So that, in that situation, we come to 3, 1 for each bedroom. And now we don't have a developer saying, oh, I can't rent out the 3rd bedroom because I don't have a parking spot, if we've already required.
Right.
So I think these ideas that we've passed through so far with parking and these common spaces are helping with the development. I don't think they're running off, but they are making very manageable development. That extra space, kind of controls the traffic a little bit. It makes them be able to park on the street and not out in the street and add to the traffic problem. So I think these changes that we've approved recently has improved our way of life in the city of Blackfoot and our planning of the development. If there's not any more questions than that, that's the last item on the agenda. Turn the time back over to
Well, I don't have anything. Do you guys have anything that we need to discuss or want to know?
If you got any questions, I can do what I say.
How's my neighborhood coming along?
What's that?
How's my neighborhood coming along?
We have issued a will serve letter for them. Once the developer signs that will serve letter, they'll be able to apply for their application with the Department of Environmental Quality. When that application comes back, if they have any suggestions that are required for stormwater runoff or anything of that nature, we will add that to the draft of the development agreement. But we can't draft the development agreement until that application comes back and see what their DEQ letter says, that what they're gonna require. They also will have all the special conditions that were approved in the staff report will be in the agreement as well, and all the other conditions that were required by the other department that's in that staff report.
As the neighborhood group.
Yeah, they have filed it for judicial review and they've amended to it twice. Garrett is drafting our response, the city's response to it right now. And that's the most updated I can have for it right now. We have talked to the developer saying that they haven't been granted a stay of procedure yet. They can request that in the judicial review if the judge is willing to hear that. But they haven't been granted that. There's not a lot of money to be invested in the DEQ application or issuing the WILSERT letter or getting the development agreement signed. The risk comes when you start putting in improvements such as the road, the curb gutter, the water and sewer lines that would be required. We are in talks right now, trying to figure out what's the best phasing plan to approve with the first development agreement. So until, if we get a stay of procedure, then yeah, we'll pump the brakes there. But there's no reason for us to hold up that application at this point.
I have a question for you about the letter that you sent to us. It said the city council approved for the street name changes for Founder Street and Chatfield Lane.
Yes.
That's just generic. We're going to use those names. Do we know which name's going to go on which road?
Chatfield Lane will be the Davy Lawrence Lane,
Okay,
and Founder Street was going to replace Rich Street.
Rich.
And I'm waiting for that letter to come back from being reviewed with our city attorney right now. I'm also waiting for the 10-day appeal process. If anyone wants to appeal that decision, to file within the 10 days of the decision from city council. After that 10-day appeals process runs out, I will issue them letters to all the property owners involved. Fortunately, on both them streets, we don't have to change any house numbers. We just have to change the street name. The Baby Lawrence Lane going to Chatfield Lane will still use the same designation as a lane because we don't have any dedicated right-of-way there. We do have a prescribed easement there because we have water and sewer that runs underneath that. But we haven't had any land dedicated to the city, and if we did, it wouldn't be wide enough to create a residential street. It would still be, if we did have dedicated space there, it'd be more of a alley than dedicated residential. But the house numbers are numbered correctly, even if we just change the name of the street.
And I know that we don't have anything to do with it, but I was stopped and asked today when, you know how they have the railroad tracks there, and is it on what? When you're going over the railroad tracks by where Cruz Brothers used to be.
Walker?
Walker, yeah. Somebody's asked me, when is that gonna get worked on so that Walker can open back up?
So Walker isn't closed down right there because the train tracks is closed down for the North Main extension for the sewer line. It's close to being done.
But it's done on that section, and that's what they said. There's nothing going on there. It's
What-
just,
Well, the reason why they had to shut down that is because they can't come in and make a right turn there. That's where the hole starts. So they have to shut down Walker Street for that through traffic. If they want to make it right, they'll run into a hole. That's why that's shut down. So that's part of that reason is that hole's still there right at that intersection of Walker and Southwest Main. But they recently connected the Slate Mountain Trailer Park to that main. That was intended purpose of that. There is an old concrete sewer main that runs underneath Slate Mountain that will be plugged and abandoned after this is completed. All of them trailer houses right there were issued conditional certificate of occupancy. Once this project is complete, and a couple other details are completed in their development agreement, we'll be able to reissue permanent certificate of occupancies for We also reconnected all the businesses along there as well. They did have to work with like the Alpine Trailer Court because there was only one way in and one way out. And they were gonna upgrade that sewer connection all the way to that trailer park as well. And that's what's taking
So,
time right now. We also had to move around some storage units at Slate Mountain and planted over where the sewer line was gonna run and extended off the last manhole and up to that main line as well. So that's,
now those like, is that the one that he put in all those trailers? Are they rented or can you buy those?
they're all rented from what my understanding is. It isn't plotted out for individual
You
ownership.
can buy the whole thing.
I saw that. Thanks.
But there's still,
Something.
Yeah,
there's still
I
other
know.
items in their development agreement that hasn't been completed, like the improvements for the curb and gutter on Minor Street, which is on the north.
Yeah.
boundary. But this is the city catching up and fulfilling their agreement to that development as well. We agreed to extend that North Main sewer,
Yeah.
and we allowed them to build over that old sewer line because we was gonna plug and abandon it anyways.
Thank you.
I got one more.
Okay.
The park, or the hotel.
Which hotel, the Wyndham or the Millmore? The Wyndham, currently the stepping blocks for the bond is still in place. I did hear some encouraging news today that might get started back up, that things will get paid and that will continue, but I'm waiting to hear what happens. The city has provided every opportunity for that application to succeed. It's still a viable project. It just takes some money, like any project does. So I did hear some encouraging news today, and we'll continue that communication as well to find out.
Is Wyndham still in on it?
Yes,
Or,
as
oh,
far as I understand, yes. We do have like a pre-application in for a commercial building permit for that hotel. Fees haven't been paid, so the review process hasn't been begun. Probably dependent upon these other things that are made to happen. The city council or the Bureau is willing to terminate the renewal district if they have to, if it doesn't succeed. But we want to give them every opportunity to be successful. So we will apply with the state commission closer to the deadline. If need be. If not need be, we still have the option to terminate it if something doesn't happen within the right time frame, or potentially have to reapply.
What were you implying about the Millmore?
The Millmore,
They have for rent signs. Did they get their certificate of occupancy on
not that I understand.
Not yet.
it? So how can they rent without that?
They can,
Free rent.
they
It's done
can,
online.
they can start signing contracts and give them not a definite move-in date, or if they think that the projected date that they give their applicants, they can do that all they want. That's their,
So does that mean second and third floors are complete now?
They're close.
they're closed. They're closed.
Well, I know
ask
that
our building inspector.
they have all of the refrigerators and stoves and all that in it already. I remember seeing the trucks coming and going with appliances.
Actually, the holdup, I think, is the lobby and the laundry.
Speak a little louder, please.
I believe the holdup is the lobby and the laundry room. Most of the apartments are completed already.
And the door coming off that to the stairwell, will that be left open so that they can park on Broadway and go straight through up the stairs? Or what's the
Parking
plan on that?
behind. No street parking.
That's parking back.
Yeah, they haven't drawn the lines for the parking that they have
There's
provided,
not enough space though.
off-street parking. They
You
did
have a variance for
acquire
additional
a
laundry
variance.
They had a variance to use the US Bank, which is now sold to Norco. So they
That's
can't,
on- That's a him question, not a building question.
I I'm still looking into that.
Okay, well, Norco doesn't have to abide by that as the new owner. And Briscoe was another one that they were going to use, and Briscoe has now rented to Summit.
Yeah,
I
but
forget what Summit is.
Briscoe has also purchased the property to the rear of that building, so they can comply with their own parking requirements as well.
And then there's the city parking lot, which was the third one that they were supposed to be using, which is being utilized quite a bit.
So they still have a shipping container full of construction supplies in the back. I imagine as soon as they're complete or done with that shipping container, that could be removed, lines could be painted. We can count the parking spaces and review the contract and see where they're at.
But with 32 units, at how many parking spaces per unit? There's no way that parking space is enough without relying on the other ones that are no longer available. That's my concern.
I'd have to see if the agreement ran with the land with US Bank or if it was just
With Briscoe.
with Briscoe. So, that's stuff I gotta look into.
But I thought we asked that when the first people that bought it. And it was said that they could park on the street.
No, it was said no parking on the street. It would all be back door entrance. And I just can't see people walking that far with groceries and climbing stairs and all that with groceries. I just don't see it happening.
Well, I know the units on the main floor are ADA accessible. They don't have an elevator, but we do have fire escapes built on the outside. It might be what is expected to live there. If someone wants to live there and live downtown, or, that's.
They'll be using the front door entry. Or
They can access the stairs from the rear door as well.
that's true.
If they say you went grocery shopping at the Family Dollar, that front door is still very.
Going to be open to,
I think that door has to remain open for egress for fire escape, for the lower floor, as well as other, we got fire escapes built on the back. So, yeah, we'll have to review that when the parking lot gets painted and review that application. Bureau is very interested in the results of that because they put some money into it as well.
Well, I was thinking, and you can answer this, Missy, is it a steel door that's coming off that laundromat area to the stairwell from the old foyer?
Oh, the old foyer is not the laundromat, the laundromat's.
Next door to it, but the two are one open room.
No. The laundromat, the laundry room is the separate room from the laundry.
That's not what I saw when I went over there. And it was open.
As far as I know, there should be a fire door, but
Before the stairwell.
no, from the laundry room into the lobby.
I could be wrong.
They can look at it tomorrow.
okay, if we have nothing else, then we have a new person,
Yes.
which you
You want to introduce yourself or you want me to introduce you, Terry?
I need to introduce myself. I'm Terry. I'm the planning and zoning assistant. And Misty is going to be going into the building department.
Terry will also help with the right-of-way permits as well, and sidewalks with Public Works. She will attend our Public Works meetings as well. Also work with our Public Information Officer on any updates or any announcements that need to be done on the projects.
Okay, do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that we close our meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stand anyway. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
Oh,